I was watching the Queen on the news, and she was at Whipsnade Zoo with Prince Philip, and they was having a wander around. I don't know what they were doing, but they ended up and they were feeding the elephants, and she'd given this elephant a banana. And of course, the elephant starts looking for another one, so she points at Prince Philip, who gives him his banana. Then he starts going back to the Queen. The Queen did not know what to do. She's got this elephant that's got his trunk sort of like reaching out into her handbag type of thing. And it reminded me of the time of when she met Norman Wisdom, and he was in the Isle of Man at the time. And he met her previously, at least once that I know of, because he'd actually gone to get his knighthood or whatever it was up at Buckingham Palace, and he was all dressed up. She's standing there with the sword, and he comes up and kneels down, and she does whatever she has to do, and he gets up. Whether he says a few words to her or not, I can't remember. But as he walks away, he deliberately does his little trip, and of course she starts laughing. You can see she's a fan, and she nudges someone and says, "Did you see that?" So Norman, he thinks that he's a mate of the Queen's, you see. So in his later life, as he's getting older, his mind starts to go, I suppose. And he's living out on the Isle of Man, and the Queen comes out there for this visit. So she's out there and being shown around by all these dignitaries. You've got all these people dressed up, and they've got their uniforms on, one thing and another. They're shown around like a village fete in a field. So she's going around, Norman Wisdom spots her, and he thinks, "I know her. I'm not quite sure where I know her from, but I know her." And you can see on his face, so he goes over, and he starts talking to the Queen, and of course she's like a bit bemused. And he decides that he wants to take her off to show her some cheese stall or something like that. And he just grabs hold of her by the arm, which of course people don't do, so she doesn't know what to do. She's never had it happen to her before in her life. So she's sort of like gone, "Oh, what do I do?" And she's looking around. There's no sort of like security guards that have jumped in to say, "No, you can't touch the Queen." And he starts dragging her off, and he takes her over to this cheese thing, and she doesn't want to try it, and he's trying to force this cheese upon her, and she did not know what to do, the poor woman. And all these dignitaries around, you could see that they're thinking, well, what do? We can't step in and sort of like manhandle Norman Wisdom and drag him away, because all the cameras of the world are here, you know, watching us. So it really became like a Norman Wisdom film, where he was just doing absolutely ridiculous things that you wouldn't think would be normal. But for Norman Wisdom, that was his life. That was the type of normal thing that he would do. And I saw a documentary on him once, and they put him into a home, and he'd sort of like gone into this home, and he was in the day room, and there was all these people sitting around, and you could see them looking as if to say, "I think that's Norman Wisdom," you know. And he just started singing. You know, the man was just a born entertainer. He's had a fascinating life. I don't know how this all came about with me just watching the Queen, but I saw the Queen, and anyway, no. And his book. If you get the chance to get his book, you know, get it out of the library or the shop, I don't know. Have a look at that, because he's had a fascinating life. Really, really tough upbringing. Really tough upbringing. He was homeless as a child, and joined the army at a very, very young age, and that became his family. And yeah, it was tremendous, and it was a shame to see him as he was at the end, but he hadn't lost that ability to entertain and to make people laugh. And I think that's great. You know, you just, one day you're all going to get to that stage, aren't you? Well, you hope you're going to get to that stage where you're going to get long life. But he could still do it, and he sat in that day room, and I'll never forget that, and he started sort of like messing around and singing, and people just absolutely loved it. The man was an absolute genius, and during the 1950s and early 60s, he was the highest paid entertainer in the country. He sold out. His films sold out. They were box office smashes, and yeah, he was marvelous. It was a shame, really, that he couldn't take it to the medium of television in later life, and perhaps in the 60s and 70s when television was taken over from the cinema, he couldn't break into that market. I mean, he had little bits and pieces, but nothing like the success he had in the films. But Norman Wisdom, you get a chance to read his book, I would certainly recommend it.